Saudi royalty billionaire travel secrets. What no one ever told you about the way they travel. When you come from a 335-year history and sit on one of the world's largest oil reserves, it's really not hard to flex the way Saudi royal billionaires do. Think of it this way: how would you live life knowing you belong to the richest royal family in the world, with a combined net worth of around $1.4 trillion? Well, if you're part of the 2,000 princes that make up most of that net worth, it's almost impossible to do things under the radar or not get noticed at all. Traveling is one of the ways we get to see the big, beautiful world. For us, luxury travel is booking a first-class ticket on Emirates and maybe staying a week long in the Burj Arab Maldives and just vacationing on some of the world's best private beaches. Best believe your definition of luxury travel is a walk in the park for a Saudi royal billionaire. In this video, we take a look at top Saudi royalty billionaire travels that left the rest of the world in awe, and why the Saudis are in a class of their own. The House of Saud. Before we even get started with their travel secrets, let's begin by understanding who they are and how they're super wealthy. The House of Saud is the ruling royal family of Saudi Arabia. The most influential position of the royal family is the King of Saudi Arabia, an absolute monarch. The family in total is estimated to comprise some 15,000 members. However, the majority of power, influence, and wealth is possessed by a group of about 2,000 of them. The state-owned oil company, Aramco, is one of the most successful companies in the world. About 98% of the company's shares are controlled by the state, including the 4% recently transferred by the Crown Prince to the Sovereign Wealth Fund. As a nation with an absolute monarch, the House of Saud is the state and practically controls it all. So it's easy to see how they're worth $1.4 trillion. How Saudi royalty billionaires travel. It's hard to keep tabs on all 2,000 influential and super wealthy royals. However, there are some that can't be overlooked. We'll begin from the less outrageous reported travel lifestyle of a Saudi billionaire to that of the king himself, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, the Saudi prince and his 80 falcons. Sometime in early 2017, the internet was agog when pictures of falcons taken on a flight began to circulate. If you've ever struggled to get your pet to sit with you on a flight, the picture will leave you gobsmacked. Why would anyone have so many falcons, and where are they headed? There's no need to give yourself a migraine trying to figure it out. A Saudi prince is at the center of it all. Much of what was gathered was that the falcons were flying to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia for what is thought to be a hunting trip. Falconry is a popular sport in the Middle East among the super wealthy. There's even a high-end falcon hospital and a museum dedicated to the birds in Dubai. However, what's most astonishing is why this particular falconer needs so many. Although the name of the Saudi prince was not disclosed, paying for an additional 80 seats on a United Emirates flight is a drop in the ocean for a Saudi royal. Getting these birds on a plane is also no small feat. According to Atlas Obscura, all falcons who fly must be issued a passport valid for 3 years for air travel in the UAE to protect them from smugglers. The birds require no photo, like how can you tell them apart? But the birds can be fitted with a leg ring with an ID number corresponding to their passport. But then again, why didn't he just use one of his private jets or take one from his brother or cousin? That's what regular billionaires do. As a member of the Saudi royal family, you've got to make an impression. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, MBS. It is practically impossible to speak about the Saudi royals and not mention MBS. Undoubtedly, a crown prince of a nation like Saudi would not easily go under the radar, but MBS has a reputation for standing out everywhere. It's hard to keep up with his lifestyle, from his luxury yachts, cars, jets, mansions, and travels. MBS never fails to make a statement. So, in June 2017, King Salman removed his nephew Mohammed bin Nayef from the position of crown prince and appointed Mohammed bin Salman in his place. As Crown Prince, he is often considered the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia. Along with the position comes a need to make global political tours to consolidate and solidify bilateral relations with different countries. So when the Crown Prince decided to take a tour of the United States in 2018, he did so in a grand style. Since a tour of the United States is incomplete without a stop in Los Angeles, MBS sure had to show the Americans how deep his pockets truly are. He was going to meet with some of the richest people in California, so he went out and booked all the rooms. That's 285 rooms at the Four Seasons Beverly Hills. That cost him about $171,000 a night. He reportedly stayed for 3 days, but what's a Saudi crown prince without his entourage? MBS was also reported to have booked an additional 40 rooms in the L'Ermitage, located about a half a mile from the Four Seasons. That brings the total bill to $191,000 a night for a tour of just Los Angeles in the United States. Before heading to the West Coast, the Crown Prince had also booked all the rooms in the 20-story Plaza Hotel in New York. As usual, he needed additional hotels, St. Regis and Four Seasons, to accommodate all of his entourage. Americans and tourists alike could not make reservations during the period the Crown Prince made the hotel his residence. What of people who had booked in advance? The hotels had to relocate guests to make room for the prince. It wasn't a request, as the U.S. State Department was said to have formally asked the hotels to make these relocations to accommodate a large VIP delegation. King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. No one, absolutely no one, knows how to make grand travel plans like the king himself. Although he no longer leaves the country these days, he is one to leave the world in awe during his heydays. A closer look at the king's itinerary shows he has not taken his yearly month-long summer vacation in Morocco in a long time. For whatever reasons, his son, the Crown Prince, has taken over from where his father stopped. In this video, we'll focus on the king's Asian tour trip in 2017. The tour began on February 26 as a 4-day state visit to Malaysia and ended on October 7th in Russia for 4 days to strengthen bilateral relations. Our interest starts from his March 1, 2017 travel to Indonesia for 12 days, 9 of which were spent in Bali on vacation, 1-day travel to Brunei, and his arrival in Japan on March 12th. The 81-year-old monarch at the time traveled to Indonesia with 459 metric tons of cargo. You heard that right. 459 metric tons of cargo. That's about the weight of 72 African elephants. The king and his entourage flew in on the royal family's Boeing 747. But how did they carry all 459 tons of cargo? In a fleet of 7 aircraft, including Boeing 747s, 777s, a 757, a 737, and a Lockheed C-130 Hercules transport aircraft. But then again, what would you have needed that weighed so much? Apparently, the king needed to move around in his own cars. So, he got 2 stretched-out Mercedes-Benz S600 limousine. When you're as wealthy as the Saudi king, you wouldn't want to waste energy getting out and down from your high double-decker plane. What better way to get down than the electric elevators? However, there's nothing royal about an electric elevator, so he ensured that they were made of gold. But why need 2 gold electric elevators? Because he's the king of Saudi Arabia. It was reported that more than 550 workers were tasked with dealing with all the luggage in Indonesia. The king also brought with him 1,500 people, including ministers, princes, and no fewer than 100 security personnel. Although a large chunk of the luggage was left behind in Indonesia, the king still moved to Japan with his entourage. To ensure his entourage could move around easily, the Saudi king had 500 limousines ordered in Tokyo to ferry him and his crew around the capital. For accommodation, about 1,200 hotel rooms had to be provided. Ever thought of where the Crown Prince learned how to buy out an entire hotel for vacation? The king himself. Do you think the Saudi royalty billionaires' travel plans are way too excessive? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Also, if you found this video informative and entertaining, please share it with your friends. And kindly give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring videos. See you in the next video.